let's get to the themes likely to drive the markets this week. Pete McGuire joining us from XM. Pete, great to talk to you this Monday morning. You're looking clean shaven, ready for the week ahead. You're expecting a lot of action because look at what we saw on Wall Street on Friday. Sharp falls expected, certainly when the market opens.
Absolutely, Andrew. Good morning. Yeah, the king is back, King Dollar. Wow, what a return it's been. It's been incredible over the last 48 hours of trading, Thursday, Friday. Gold got spanked down. It's at 1760 odd. US dollar index 92.25, 92.3, probably further upside yet with some PCE numbers coming through this week, Andrew. Equities got hammered, and there's been an enormous amount of profit to be taken from markets over the last 48 hours. Hopefully all the traders listened to us on Thursday and they've done well out of the markets.
All right, let's take a look specifically at the US dollar then. As you say, obviously benefiting given that hawkish turn we've seen from the Fed, but you're expecting further that inflation data, another read we're likely to see this week, is going to provide further impetus.
Well, it could be a shot in the arm, Andrew. We might take a 92.5 handle out, considering where we've been. We're at, that this time last week, 90.4, 90.5. We're now at 90, take a 92.5. I'm not suggesting it's going to get to 93, but it seems to be upward from here. And have a look what's happened as far as commodities. Have a look, really, that gold story. And also, base metals got absolutely savaged. So there's everyone short of the market, been long dollar, and be rubbing their hands with glee.
Yeah, and as a result, the Aussie being hit hard.
You bet, absolutely. It got spanked, and so did the Kiwi, so did Euro, Pound, Yen. Everything has just really taken a real big hit down, and that's where traders have been able to really profit from this last couple of days of trading.
All right. Well, I mean, that's great if you're positioned well as far as trading is concerned. Let's also take a look at some of the other factors to consider this week. Certainly got the BOE decision too. What are you expecting from that?
Well, I don't think any surprises, Andrew. Maybe they're going to follow on as far as what the Fed did last week, and they'll talk about taper cuts and possibly, their inflation numbers themselves. So I'm waiting to see what happens. That could spook the the pound cross rate a little bit against the yen, possibly against the euro also. So I'm just waiting to see what happens. Also, of course, you've got those PMI surveys coming out for June this week as far as the US. So there's a fairly good large amount of data that's got to be interpreted and what impact it has to the market. So keep an eye on the pound from a trading perspective. Could be a surprise or two there, and maybe this is the call forward. The big economies start to look at how they're going to, taper back and pull taper off the table, and of course the inflation story and raising of rates, Andrew.
So yeah, the prospect of higher rates then out of the UK, you're seeing that as obviously a potential boost for the pound.
Well, I think so, Andrew. There's every chance you're going to see that. So it could be, a little bit of a talk fest, and what happens over this next quarter is going to be very interesting. How it sets us up for the Christmas time period. So. Yeah, the Northern Hemisphere summer's not going to disappoint any of the traders. It's been an enormous, month to date, and really over the last quarter has been electric, April, May and June. So a fantastic time to trade, and I'm thinking the next quarter could be equally as interesting.
Pete, how are you looking at oil at the moment? Of course, it has come off its peak. Where to now?
Well, I think it's going to trend up, and Andrew, I feel as though that probably a 75 handle for Brent's achievable. But yeah, the inflation story, King Dollar coming back. Oil hasn't been savaged anywhere near like gold has been, so they could see a big reversal now. It's back at 1760. I'm not suggesting it's going to get to 1900 again anytime soon, but you could be up for a big uptrend there. So oil, keep an eye on it. Possibly further strength from here, and the demand side is reasonably strong. So that's the storyline.
Pete, pulling back, taking a broad look at the markets at the moment then, is the reflation trade over?
I don't think so. I think there's still more upside, Andrew, and more uncertainty, and how the big banks, as far as the Fed and ECB, and how they contain inflation. So this storyline's not going away. I read something out from Paul Tudor Jones, a guy I've followed for decades out of the States, very, very successful trader, and then he went to be a hedge fund king. and inflation is the number one concern that he's keeping an eye on. So every stock, anything that's linked to inflation is really going to really start to barrel along as far as price. So I think there's plenty of good money to be made yet.
Yeah, what about those growth stocks, though, in particular tech? How are you looking at that at the moment?
Well, have a look. The Nasdaq, Andrew, has come back. It's had incredible gains over the last 12 months, and possibly it's just exhausted to the upside. I don't think the good days are over for it. More people on the planet, more people engaged in technology, and really this decade is going to be their decade. So have a look at the stocks coming out of India. Have a look at the Brains Trust as far as information sources and new age energy. So technology is going to sweep us all the way to the upside, and it's going to be a fairly good decade, I think, for that whole sector.
All right, Pete, strap yourself in. Looks like it's going to be an action-packed week.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us from XM.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Take care.